Newcastle United actually had a pretty impressive second season under their new Saudi owners, securing European football yet again and keeping the momentum alive. They are going to be in the Europa Conference League after Manchester United winning the FA Cup, but it's a competition they can certainly win, and if you ask West Ham fans, they're going to be champions of Europe. Now today, we are rebuilding them on Football Manager for the 24-25 season, and surprisingly enough, they don't actually have as much money as you guys might think. So we're going to be doing this in full realism, signing players Newcastle were linked to in real life and seeing where we can get Newcastle to finish for the 24-25 season. And it's got to be said, the Premier League has got much harder, with Aston Villa now coming in the top four. Teams like United coming down in 8th place. It is certainly looking like a more competitive league, and one that we're going to struggle to get into the top four with, but that is going to be the goal. Now, one thing I have got to say is I couldn't get it, so United won the FA Cup, so we are going to be in the Europa League. We'd absolutely walk the Conference League, so I'm not too fussed about that at all. So my goal is going to be to having a very good European run and getting in the FA Cup. And of course, we're doing it all using a realistic Eddie Howe tactics. We've got 3 different tactics set up: a standard one, a attacking one, and a defensive one. I'll get these tactics absolutely perfect, and by around the midpoint of this rebuild, we'll go through the tactics where they'll be available for you guys to download over on the Patreon. But you can see there's a couple of positions that I am looking to improve on. I'm looking for a brand new right centre-back to partner up alongside Sven Botman, purely because Fabian Schär has his injury worries. He seems to pull a metatarsal, if not metatarsal, you can't do that, but pull a ligament or damage his knee in some way every single year. While he is a very, very good centre-back, he can't be trusted. So as a rotational one, I think that's a very good option. A brand new right winger, Anthony Gordon on the left, is our star boy, with Isaac up front as well. He's also pretty good. And this guy, Lewis Miley, in right centre mid, he's also quite good. We're going to be giving him a lot of game time this season, alongside Joe Linton and of course Bruno Guimaraes in the central defensive midfield position. But the right wing is a little bit weak. We've got players like Jacob Murphy who could play there, as well as also Harvey Barnes, but I think getting a brand new right winger is something Newcastle will be doing this summer. I'm looking for a brand new backup goalkeeper to Nick Pope, potentially a new starter, but I reckon just a backup with the money we've got, and another backup centre back as well. Of course, we have got Sandro Tonali coming back into the squad once his ban is up for his bet allegations, so around sort of September time we will get a top class midfielder coming back into the side, which is very, very exciting. In terms of the money, £3 million in the bank and 300k in wage budget. Now, Newcastle in real life have signed Lloyd Kelly, so we're looking to do that here as well. So we'll get him in as our backup centre-back. But overall, they are linked to quite a few players. The likes of Odysseus Flageolemis from Nottingham Forest is linked to coming to be a backup goalkeeper. Brian Mbeumo is their possible right wing. They're linked to Calvert-Lewin because we do need another striker to back up Isaac, as I think Callum Wilson will leave the club. And of course, Lloyd Kelly as well. There will be some new names added to this list, and see who we bring in. I suppose we'd actually get right into it and see the transfers we made. Well, in terms of outgoings, Callum Wilson has left the club to West Ham for 17.5. Jamal Lewis has left to Al Ahly for 3.5, and we raised another £35 million as well. Looking at Elliot Anderson leaving the club to join Nottingham Forest, he has left in real life, as has Jacob Mamente for £11.5 million to PSG. Matt Targett to Al Shabab, Martin Dubravka to Al Fateh, and Jay Turner-Cook to West Brom as well, raising about £60 million. We are going to use the beauty of installments to get a few players in, because to be honest, we got a little bit done over. We had to spend £25 million on getting Odysseus Flageolemis in to be our backup goalkeeper. I'm pretty sure this deal has been confirmed in real life to join from Forest for like 3 million, but because the beauty of FM, we had to spend a lot more money to get him in, which is frustrating, but it's realistic, and he's here. Lloyd Kelly, we did manage to get on a free agent contract though from Bournemouth, which is very, very good news, because he could get a seriously expensive if you have to buy him in 25-30 million normally. So glad we got that one in for free. Consistent, live big matches, great physicals, good heading, marking and tackling, and of course is a left-footed centre-back as well, so can be backup to Sven Botman, who when he does get injured will need a good backup, and Lloyd Kelly can do that, and he can also play a left-back as well, just in case either Dan Burn or Lewis Hall don't play very well at left-back. We have got someone that could come in and cover. And mentioning Lewis Hall, of course, as well, he has joined the club and he will be our starting left back. Now, actually, my family member, brother, is a Newcastle fan, and he thinks Lewis Miley's going to start in at left back, and he thinks Tino Livramento is going to get a lot of games in at right back as well, progressing the two youngsters as the two fullbacks. So that's what I'm going to be doing here today, based off my brother's point of view. That's how I see it, as realistic as I can get, really. As an actual Newcastle fan, I think he knows what he's on about. So Lewis Hall will be our starting left back, and he should be very good at that as well. He adds in £28 million, which is obviously spent before I got here. We spent another 80 million overall on 3 more signings. Number 1 is a very exciting one. Our backup striker, Samu Omaraidran, signed from Atletico Madrid. This guy's heavily linked to a lot of clubs all over Europe, and to come in and be a backup to Alex Isak, I actually think it's a very realistic move. Last season on loan at Alaves, where he was absolutely fantastic. Obviously not showing here on FM due to starting in the 24-25 season, but he was absolutely brilliant. And with us here at Newcastle, we spent £24 million to get him in. Great off the ball work, great physical stats, finishing and composure is great as well. This guy's consistent, 20 years of age, and if you've ever played Football Manager, he really does turn into one of the best strikers in the game, and I think it's actually pretty realistic. Signing 2 is our brand new centre-back in Odilon Kusunu, signed from Bayer Leverkusen. Now, this guy hasn't had many links in real life, but there is apparently quite a few people leaving Bayer Leverkusen after their massive unbeaten season in the Bundesliga. A right-footed young centre-back coming to the Premier League, 45 million. I think it's a very good piece of business. They are linked to Malik Tor from AC Milan, which I was trying to get. They wanted £90 million for him. Understandably, we didn't have that much money, so this guy was my second choice, and of course the less realistic choice. Obviously, I was hoping we could get in Malik Tor. Sadly, not going to be the case. Odion Kosunu is here though, and he is fantastic. He's also young and quick, just like Tor. And a final signing is Brian Mbeumo, signed from Brentford, the cover star of the rebuild. This guy is fantastic, just 24 years of age. He has been a superstar player for Brentford over the last 2 to 3 seasons when they've been in the Premier League. Great pace, good finishing and composure. Cutting in off that right-hand side is where he is most dangerous, with a fantastic left foot, consistent, likes big matches. It cost us big money, £56 million, but I think it's worth it. A Premier League proven right winger to come in to this ever-progressing Newcastle side, which I think right now looks incredibly exciting. Nick Pope in goal, Trippier, Kasunu, Botman, Lewis Hall, Bruno Gimenez, Lewis Miley, Joe Linton and Mbeumo, Gordon and Isaac making up the side, of the backups being Vashotlamis, Livramento, Shah, Kelly, Dan Burn, Tonali, Willock, Longstaff, Murphy, Barnes and Samu Omaraidran. I think we have got a very strong side indeed, and I'm looking forward to this season. As mentioned, it is going to be Europa League football, not Conference League football, as we can't really predict who wins the FA Cup on FM, sadly, and obviously that was United, which changed the rules, but that doesn't matter. That is not really an interest to me. I think we can win the Europa League as well as we could win the Conference League, so we'll get into that one. The bold expectation is that we actually end up winning it. They're looking for us to reach Champions League football in the league as well, quarterfinals, the FA Cup, and be competitive in the Carabao. So a highly ambitious board, a highly ambitious manager. Let's see what we can do for the first month of August. And our first game of the season was up against Everton, and it was a pretty mental one as well, as Brian Mbeumo finds a ridiculous ball to Alex Isak in behind to finish off 1-0. Will he have as good of a season as he did last season? Based on the fact he got a brace in the first game with a 2-0 victory, I certainly think it is possible. He is a fantastic striker and a massive coup for Newcastle to keep a hold of him with all the interest that was in him. This game was mental, 19 shots to their 3 and 71% possession. We're going to dominate the league. Of course not. We lost 1-0 to Brentford in game number 2, having more shots, more XG, more on target, and more possession. A 1-0 loss with Anthony Gordon being injured for the rest of August. Lovely stuff. I love you, Football Manager. The ups and downs are beautiful. We did return after that loss, though, with a 3-0 victory over Leicester. Another absolutely dominating display. Leicester having one shot of a 0.03 XG is absolutely beautiful. 25 shots for us, 52% possession. Really a 1-0 game where Joe Linton scored in the 15th. At the end of the game, 93rd minute, Brian Mbeumo with his first goal for the club, and Joe Willock in the 95th. And we finished off the month of August as well, away from home against Nottingham Forest, with Brian Mbeumo getting on the score sheet yet again. So 3 wins and 1 loss leaves us down in 8th place. A very big gap in the Premier League. We're on 8, and then 4 points is just 3 points away. We are level on points with 6, a point away from second. And Villa, yeah, they've had that sort of start again. 4 games, 4 wins. Wolves, Forest, Leicester and Brentford conceding 2 goals and scoring 12. They're going to be quite the team to attempt to beat. But a very decent start from us, and one I am very, very happy with. We're now going to go a couple of months into the future. I'm going to play through the next 2 months. We've got obviously our first sort of start of the Europa League in the brand new league phase against Lyon and FC Twente and Slovan Bratislava, the Carabao Cup third round. I'd like to try and win an English competition as well this season. And the Premier League, the likes of City, Spurs, West Ham, Brighton, Wolves and Palace. Let's get into September and October. And we'll start off with the Premier League, shall we? Because it's the competition we are looking to have the best run in. And we go 1-0 down to Wolves. Well, we're at home thanks to a goal from Mario Lemina. But this game is not going to get away from us. We're going to have a late flurry in 77th minute. Joe Willett gets us underway. A fantastic driving run and great finish to make it 1-1. He's going to have an unbelievable season this year in that centre mid on attack role. Isaac heads it into our big Dutchman, Sven Botman, to make it 2-1. And we grab a third as well as Tonali returns to the club. Jacob Murphy whips it in and Isaac makes it 3-1. Well, of course, it was 3 points secured there, but 2 points dropped here, and it was our old friend Callum Wilson from the spot scoring for West Ham to make this game 1-1. And while we did return to winning ways against Brighton with goals from Samu Omarida and getting his first for the club and Dan Burn, we dropped another 2 points away from home against Crystal Palace. I suppose it's not the worst result in the world. Another game we absolutely dominated. 20 shots to their 11, 59% possession. The tactics we are creating are absolutely mental. And as mentioned, you need to get your hands on these over on the Patreon. We'll go through the normal variation at the sort of middle point of this video once I've got them set. And then you guys can obviously go through, copy it, and then the attacking and defensive ones will all be available on Patreon for you guys to download, as well as the normal one as well, because the next game is pretty damn impressive. If you remember, it's up against Manchester City, and we are using our defensive variant of the tactic, even though we're at home, and we're going to grab a 1-goal lead thanks to Livramento finding Jacob Murphy. We're then going to have some high press from Isaac finding Gordon, who's going to drive through the middle of the field, drive it into the top corner. 2-0, Anthony Gordon, the absolute superstar that is. We're going to keep a little bit of possession, get down the right-hand side with Livramento. He's going to whip it in, and Gordon is there again. A backstick header, the third goal, a 3-0 victory over Manchester City. But what I love the most of this game itself really is the stats of this victory. A 0.94 XG, 6 shots, 4 on target, 2 off-target shots, 40% possession. We counter-attacked them. We had shots when we needed to. We were clinical in our shots, and a 3-0 victory. Absolutely perfect against the big sides. I love it. And in the next game, we use the exact same tactic again, away from home against Spurs, and a Trippier corner finds Joe Linton to make it 1-0 before a long ball forward from Nick Pope finds Isaac. He beats Raleigh Dragusin. He fires home past Vicario, and we win 2-0 away from home at the Spurs Stadium. This time, not having as much possession, but a lot more shots, more on target, and a better XG. The same formation used. 2 victories against big sides. That is a massive 6 points gained. And that's all of our Premier League games done. Still just the 1 loss on the season against Brentford, 7 wins, 2 draws. Liverpool are doing pretty well, however. 10 games played, 9 wins and 1 draw, 28 points. We are 5 points away from them. We are now ahead of Aston Villa, but we are in the fight for top 4, which is exactly where we're looking to be. So I'm very happy with how the Premier League is going so far. And the Carabao Cup is going quite well as well, with a fairly rotated side in this game. We beat West Ham on penalties in the 3rd round and absolutely smashed Watford away from home 4-1 in an absolutely unbelievable victory. And we go straight in to the 5th round of the Carabao Cup, which is lovely. We can certainly be winning this one. But how are we getting on in Europe? To be fair, not the greatest. Quite a difficult first game away from home against Lyon. We lost 2-1. An 87th minute goal from Amine Sarr, and Joe Linton lost his head with an 89th minute red card. Leaves us on 0 points after the first game. But we do bounce back with a 5-2 smashing of FC Twente, having 31 shots. And a 3-0 away from home against Slovian Bratislava, which is great. It means we are doing quite well. We're in the top 8, 3 games, 2 wins, just the 1 loss. Certainly, we're looking to qualify in this top 8. We don't want to be down here doing the knockout playoff rounds. We want to be going straight into the round of 16. As mentioned, I think Newcastle will walk the Europa Conference League, especially if I was playing it here on FM. So having the Europa League is a bit more of a challenge, makes things quite interesting and quite exciting. Still European football, of course. So we'll see how we get on that one. But so far, things are going very well indeed. Some difficult game coming up. United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, all to come. Arsenal in the quarterfinals of the Carabao as well. So we have to see if we can get through them. Again, let's get right into the games. Well, November started off against Aston Villa, who were going to be one of our massive rivals for top 4 football, and Brian Mbeumo got us off to a great start of a 1-0 lead, but Aston Villa did bounce back to make this game 1-1, and was it going to be a sign of things to come? Are we going to start dropping lots of points? as we then drew 2-2 to Bournemouth after a 93rd minute equaliser from Hamad Traore. Lost 1-0 to Manchester United thanks to a Bruno Fernandes penalty in the 63rd minute. We did manage to draw 1-1 with Arsenal, which is a fantastic result, before losing to Chelsea with a brace from Romelu Lukaku and getting absolutely smashed by Liverpool. So, yeah, a nice little downwards trend there. We started the season very, very well. Had a run of lots of games with the Europa League kicking up as well. I think we just got on top of ourselves. The squad rotation wasn't quite correct. We lost a few games and dropped a few points there due to penalties or 93rd minute equalisers. But overall, we have certainly slipped down the table. We did, however, start the Christmas period very well with a game against Ipswich. A goal early on from Isaac from the spot gave us a good start, and it was the confidence we needed because a lovely finish there from Joe Linton. Pretty poor save to from Hiladeki for Kazunu finds Tino Livramento. A great ball up wide to Anthony Gordon to make this one 3-0. We then smashed Fulham 4-1 in that ridiculously bright pink kit. And then snuck through past Norwich away from home 5-4. Now, again, the playoffs can't really be predicted on the updated database. So sadly, it's Norwich rather than Southampton get promoted through the playoffs. But they gave us a pretty good game. It was 5-4 in the end. A 94th minute goal from Josh Sargent, making this one tighter than it probably should have been. But a victory is a victory. Just need to shore up that defence a little bit. But overall, pretty happy with how the Christmas period went. And we ended up against Brentford, where Brian Mbeumo, yeah, he's got a brand new club that he absolutely loves. He grabs a goal there in 17 minutes and terrorises the Brentford defence, cutting in from that right-hand side exactly as he asked him to, getting on that left foot and finding an absolute perler into the top bins to make it 2-0. Brentford are going to grab a goal back, a goal from Christian Norgard, but 3 points come to Newcastle, a 2-1 victory. And overall, the Premier League table isn't looking too bad, even with that poor run of form. 5th place, 38 points. You're looking at around 75 points if we carry on with this trajectory for the end of the season, which would be great. That would secure us around 15 points more than Newcastle got last season, which would be a very good season indeed. United in 4th, City in 3rd, Liverpool in 4th, and Arsenal top of the league. They are doing unbelievably well. 19 games played only. Liverpool have fallen off a little bit as well. But overall, not awful, but certainly not quite as well as we'd like to have seen. And it's got to be said, sadly, we are out of the Carabao Cup as well. We played quite a rotated side against Arsenal, and, well, they just sort of didn't. And we lost 1-0 thanks to a goal from Declan Rice. So, sadly, no Carabao Cup for Newcastle. We were, however, enjoying ourselves on the European stage. At home at St James's Park on a Thursday night, the football was flowing. Samuel Omarider finding Anthony Gordon there in 11 minutes to get us 1-0 leaders against a pretty big club in Lazio. And it's going to be an absolute demolition as well, with some stunning football there to find Joe Willock in the box. A nice little one-touch box being made, passing Lazio all over the place, and a great finish in the end. Livramento then finds Samu in the box to head home for 3-0, and we are going to grab a 4th just for good measure as well. And Alexander Isaac header falls to Samuel Maridaran, and he pokes it home 4-0, an absolute demolition. As was the 5-1 at home against Bodo Glimt. Sadly, away from home in Turkey, Trabzonspor just about got on top of us after 2 late goals. But overall, I'm still very, very happy. Still in that top 8. Trabzonspor in 7th, a very decent side. Things are looking, quite confident that we could be securing straight in to the round of 16 in the Europa League. It is, however, now January, so will we be doing any business? I'm not so sure. We've got a lot of money. The board have just given us loads. I'm not sure I'm going to spend any of it. I don't really think Newcastle one of them clubs that do lots of January business, especially with pretty much how well the season is going. We are challenging for Champions League. We're not in, 10th place and needing a big boost. I think things are going quite well. So we'll see. We're going to go through it and see if anything really comes our way. But other than that, some difficult games coming up yet again. And all midway through January is where we really mastered the tactics. So we'll go through the 3 tactics we have got made for then. The Howe #1, the bog standard tactic. A goalkeeper in defend for Nick Pope. He's not going to be doing too much sweepering. Kieran Trippier as the right wing back on support with cross from byline and run right with the ball. With the left back with cross from byline as well. Normally being Lewis Hall. We're looking for him also to drift inside though. So Trippier is going to be running wide. But we want to give Lewis Hall that freedom to do both. Sven Botman as the left centre-back with ball-playing defender, and the right centre-back as well, just with dribble more on with a ball-playing defender. The middle DM is going to be Bruno Guimaraes as a deep-line playmaker on defend. A centre-mid on support on the right-hand side, get for forward and roam from position with the Metzala on support. The standard Joe Linton role really on this left hand with no further instructions. Getting in and involved on this left-hand side, getting wide and being an absolute menace in the box as well. A winger on attack on the left-hand side, the Anthony Gordon role, running wide with the ball and looking to set up the striker. Or the right-hand side, the inverted winger on support, roam from position, sit narrower, get in them half spaces and disrupt the defence with a complete forward on attack up front, the Isaac role. It's absolutely perfect for him with no further instructions. We are set to positive and in possession we are looking to keep the same width, play at defence and play it wide, shorter and slightly higher tempo with whipped crosses, because you see Trippier, you see Dan Burn if he whips a ball in, you see Anthony Gordon, you'll see Miguel Almiron when he's playing at right wing, absolutely whip a ball in. It's not always low, it's not always high, it's just fast and quick so defences can't react. So that's what we're looking to do on the final third. Crosses in transition, counter and counter press with distributing the ball to the centre backs. Just don't kick it long, please, Pope, because you're not very good at that. And out of possession, a high defensive line, a high press system, one tick up on the trigger and press and preventing the short goalkeeper distribution. The attacking variation and the defensive variation are ever so slightly different, and I would certainly recommend using all three. You need to get your hands on them on the Patreon down below. That's going to be available for you guys to download all three of these tactics and the rebuild file as well. So Newcastle fans, you can pick up from where I finished up at the end of season 1. Will it be Champions League football? Well, you have to carry on watching to see if we do get that one. But massive thank you to the legends running down on screen right now that do support over on Patreon. You make my dreams come true of potentially being able to do this one day full time. So a massive thank you to you legends. Let's get info to January. A few wobbly games to start off. We then change the tactics and we go pretty mental from there on out. So yeah, we started off with a 1-1 draw against Everton away from home, which wasn't great, before losing 3-0 against Wolves away from home. Now, to be honest, we didn't actually play that bad in this game. Nick Pope was just awful with a 5.8 average rating. They only had 4 shots on target and scored 3, but it was time for a change, and we go into now the brand new tactics. And it was Leicester up first to face the wrath of this brand new Newcastle side, and Joe Willock in that Metzala on support role is an absolute joke. He grabs goal number 1 there just for the halftime whistle, before goal number 2 going to come just after the halftime whistle from Brian Mbeumo. Leicester are going to grab a goal back in the 53rd minute when Marcao, a fantastic wonder kid, cuts in from the right hand side to poke home past Nick Pope. But Joe Willock is going to have a field day for the rest of the game. You can see him there getting involved on the left hand side. Isaac blew in his complete forward roll, setting it back into him. An outrageous effort, a first time finish into the top corner, being a beautiful finish. And then Ryan Fraser comes on, finds Samuel Maridaran to find Gordon. Look how high up Joe Willock is there. We're going to go back to the couple of frames. That's our Metzala on support. We have our deep lane playmaker being here and being aggressive. Our striker cutting in and linking up play, but our Metzala getting in behind the striker, being aggressive. There is Joe Willock. He is there. Touch, bang, 4-1. A fantastic victory as we destroy Leicester, and the tactics are looking pretty damn good. We carried that on with a 2-1 victory against Forest and a 3-1 against Southampton as well. Both games absolutely dominating on shots, XG and possession. I'm very happy with how things are going. How are things going in Europe, you ask? I think it's safe to say the tactics also work here as well. So we're going to see a beautiful game played against SC Braga, with Lewis Miley getting the score sheet there in just 20 minutes for Jacob Murphy. Finds Tino Livramento to whip a ball in for Jacob Murphy to poke home for 2-0. It's even working well with our rotational side. Jacob Murphy whipping it in to Sven Botman to make it 3-0 in 34 minutes. We're then going to see Botman step up again and intercept to find Jacob Murphy, who's been an absolute menace, who finds Lewis Miley. That Metzala roll is a joke. 4-0 in 60 minutes. And Mbeumo now coming in on the right hand side. Bruno Guimaraes, Miley. Bruno Guimaraes has space, has time, and lets our ripper go into the top corner for 5-0. And we are going to grab a 6th as well, as Mbeumo finds Joe Linton, beats his man, back to Mbeumo, a convincing 6-0 win. And we finished it off as well, beating Basel 3-1 away from home. Another goal for Lewis Miley, which is great to see. We finish in 6th place on 18 points. We are in to the round of 16 straight away, which is absolutely beautiful. We haven't got to worry ourselves playing in the knockout playoff rounds, and there's some big teams that could get knocked out. Benfica, Roma, Dortmund, Nice, Lazio, Bilbao, all missing out. Luckily for us, we didn't have to worry about that one. And to mention the FA Cup as well, we beat Lincoln 5-2, and then that 3-1 game against Southampton I showed you was actually the FA Cup 4th round, not the Premier League. So we're into the 5th round of that one, and we beat both teams fairly comfortably. And the thing that I'm loving so far most up is the sort of rotation of goals. Isaac scoring 15 with our Mensala, Joe Willock scoring 12, Samu, the backup striker, getting 10, with Anthony Gordon also getting 10 goals and 6 assists. Jacob Murphy, when he plays, is a menace. 6 goals and 13 assists as well, was great to see. Buemo, 8 and 8 is lovely. Lewis Miley, 5 goals and 4 assists, progressing him very well. Joe Linton, 4 and 4, playing fairly well also. And overall, just a spread of goals and assists coming from all over the pitch, which is wonderful to see, rather than just being the striker scoring 40 goals like a Haaland, for example. Being the complete forward, Isaac is linking things up, getting players involved, and goals are coming from everywhere, making us very hard to stop. The data hub, we're doing well. More goals than anyone else, and are conceding very few as well. So very, very happy. Let's get involved to the next couple of months as we go to the deep end of the season, where we are going to kick things off against West Ham United, and Kieran Trippier getting down that right-hand side, finding Alexander Isaac to grab our first goal in just 12 minutes, before him grabbing a second as well. Trippier on the right-hand side, finding Isaac in the box. He is unbelievable. 2-0 against West Ham. They are going to grab a goal back to make it 2-1, and that guy, Callum Wilson, again linking up play. Sergej Piniev, a fantastic young wonder kid, finding Wilson in the box for 2-1. But overall, another 3 points gained. I want to think for a game like this, it should be 4 points. We've faced up against Palace and we've won 6-2. Goals from Joe Linton, a brace for Isaac, Dan Burn, Samuel Maridran, and Joe Ward having an own goal. And this is all while Palace had Elise playing. He should be at Bayern Munich. Disgusting from them. They're cheating. We absolutely dominated, 65% possession, a smashing victory. But that has sadly resulted in us getting a little bit carried away, and a loss against Brighton before Manchester City winning 2-1, getting their revenge after that 3-0 victory at the start of the season. A very, very good result, to be honest. We went 1-0 up and eventually just lost control of the game, and Brian getting injured as well. I think he was okay. It was only an arm injury, so not too long out, but sadly 2 losses in a row after the 2 big wins. We needed to get back on track. And what better team to welcome to the St James's Park than Spurs? Well, so I thought, because in 2 minutes, Jungmin Son gets them 1-0 up. But yeah, this is going to be absolutely fine. This is who he wants to play, because they're, Spurs, and they're always fun to bully. Sanchez Tonali scores to make it 1-1 in 11 minutes, while Lewis Hall then whips a corner ball in for Kasuna with the back stick to make it 2-1. A fantastic header rising over Radu Dragusin. Gordon then finds Isaac to then send it back into the middle for Joe Willock to grab another goal for his tally of the season, making it 3-1. And a 4th is going to come as well. Lewis Miley now in the field finds Lloyd Kelly, a ball in, and Samu is there. An absolute demolition, a 4-1 victory, and the confidence is back flowing. So we had another 5-4 game against Aston Villa, this time a victory again, just like against Norwich, and another late couple of goals from them, making it look a little bit tighter than it actually was. But another 5-4, you don't see them often for some reason, twice in one season. And we finished the month as well, getting our own back on Manchester United. A Joe Linton header at the back stick made us 1-0 victors. And in the Premier League, things are looking tasty. We're in 5th place on 60 points, which I believe is what Newcastle got this season already, and we've got 7 games left to play as well. 3 points away from top 4. We are probably not going to be winning the league, let's be honest. Arsenal are pretty clear, but top 4 football is what we're looking for, and things are going well there. In the FA Cup, we placed against Swansea and beat them 3-0 before facing another big team from London in the quarter-final of an English Cup. This time it's Chelsea, and after a defensive mistake just 5 minutes in, Nicholas Jackson is going to make them 1-0 leaders. But in the 65th minute, we're going to grab a stroke of luck on our own as Livramento hits it against the post, and Fofana puts it in the back of the net for us to make it 1-1. But we are going to go on top as we go into extra time. Harvey Barnes whips the ball in, and Samu is there off the bench to make it 2-1, and we're going to run away with it in extra time, as well as Joe Willock finds Trippier on the right hand side to find Willock again on the byline, finding Samu in there to make it 3-1. And you thought it was done. A Fabian Schär penalty finished things off, and we're going to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. And while we did draw 1-1 in the first leg of the Europa League round of 16, In the second leg, we smashed them. Sparta Prague have lost 7-3 on aggregate, a demolition in this game. We're also in the quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup as well. So overall, things are going absolutely splendid. 5th place in the league, quarterfinals of the Europa League. We've got Copenhagen, which we should be able to win. Semi-finals of the FA Cup, where we're most likely going to have Manchester City, which will be difficult. And of course, a young progressing squad as well. Very, very happy we're now getting vote. Do or die, can we lift some trophies? Back in the Prem, we did stake our claim for that top 4 spot, beating Bournemouth 3-0. But next up was runaway league leaders Arsenal, and to be honest, they were just a better team. They gave us an absolute seeing to, and we lost 4-2. And what next up was Chelsea, and we're just stuck 4 past them in the FA Cup. I think we're going to be doing it again here in the league as Livramento finds Gordon at the back stick to make it 1-0 in just 7 minutes. And we really are actually showing a better side than Chelsea as Howe finds Mbuemo again in that 6-yard box to make it 2-0. The on-rushing players is proving an absolute issue. Mbuemo leaps above Ben Chilwell to make it 3-0 in the first half. And we're going to grab a 4th in the first half as well as Alex Isak drifts in left and right, finds Joe Willock 4-0. Chelsea, I don't know what happened. You just got absolutely blown away in the first half. And we finished off April as well, beating Ipswich away from home 2-1. And we are now sitting in 4th place, 3 points ahead of Manchester United. And they've got a game in hand. We have got a slightly better goal difference. So it is going to be certainly very, very tight as it is this 4th place that we are all battling for. But that big victory over Chelsea massively helped. With just 3 games to go, can we secure top 4? Well, that will come in just a minute because first up is the quarterfinals of the Europa League where we've absolutely battered Copenhagen 4-0 and drew in the second leg, so we're going straight into the semis, which will be played up against Turkish side Fenerbahce. So May is going to be ridiculously busy with obviously this and also an FA Cup final. Because yes, it was Manchester City that we drew in the FA Cup semi-final, but we are going to go ahead and beat them, even though Kevin De Bruyne grabbed them an early goal in just 12 minutes. We are going to return in 32 minutes. Bruno Guimaraes finding Anthony Gordon. A ridiculous 90-degree spinning effort finds the bottom corner. And well, I can't really show you the penalties because FM is pretty bugged in that way, which is very frustrating. But we do win on penalties 4-2 in the end with De Bruyne and Alvarez both missing for them. We are through to the FA Cup final, which will be played up against Manchester United, who also beat Aston Villa on penalties. So May is going to be mental, especially given the fact we've just battered Fenerbahce 7-5 in aggregate, 1-1 in the first leg away from home against them, 6-4 in the home leg. Sometimes with this tactic we do concede a little bit. 4 goals has happened 3 times this season, but luckily we just score loads more. 4 there from Isak, a goal for Gordon and a goal for Jacob Murphy. We are through to the Europa League final, so there's that to play with, the FA Cup final and chasing down top 4. No room for rotation. This is where the big clubs are made. And first up was Liverpool, who were challenging for 3rd place, where we're going to beat them 1-0 thanks to a goal from Samu. We then stormed 3 past Fulham to beat them 3-1 with 28 shots and 62% possession. And destroyed Norwich 5-0 on the final day of the season. Goals from Lloyd Kelly, a brace from Samu again, Harvey Barnes and Isaac on the score sheet. Meaning the Premier League, we are sitting in 4th, 78 points, 18 points better off than Newcastle with the 23-24 season, with just a few signings and a particularly big growth. Very, very happy with how this season has gone. Arsenal winning the league by a point away from City is pretty cool as well. But overall, Newcastle, top 4 football, Champions League is coming back. So Newcastle fans, you need to get your hands on this save file because the Champions League adventure you can carry on from with also £200 million spend as well. And you don't have to be realistic like me. You could bring in whoever you want. Can we add some trophies to that as well? First up is the FA Cup final up against Manchester United, who for some reason are actually pretty good. And they're going to try and stick a claim for back-to-back FA Cups as Sir Hagorashi scores there. And they're going to make it 2-0 as well from a header from Casemiro in 47 minutes. But that Geordie spirit, that Newcastle fight is going to come back. Gordon gets the ball into Isaac to make it 2-1. 71st minute, Bruno Guimaraes finds Willock, a great ball through to Isaac for 2-2. And the 99th minute of this game, we are fighting to the very end. Samu finds Gordon, JS7 at the back stick, Joe Linton 3-2, and Newcastle are FA Cup winners. a massive victory, and Joe Linton, the hero. Can we do a double and also win the Europa League? And it was Chelsea again that were going to be standing in our way. We've put 4 past them twice this season, but could we do the same again as Mudryk takes an early lead for Chelsea? And can we get a goal back 52 minutes in? And Buemo, the overlapping run of Livramento, a great ball in to Alex Isak, makes it 1-1. And the final goal of the game, 73 minutes in, Kasunu to Joe Willock to Alex Isak, to cap off a simply fantastic season. 2-1, an FA Cup trophy, a Europa League trophy, and top 4. Absolutely superb, with the absolute demon Isak scoring 32 goals. Samu 22 as the backup. Gordon 18 and 11. Joe Willock 16 and 7. Brian Buemo 11 and 11. Harvey Barnes the backup 10 and 4. 18 assists for Jacob Murphy. 9 goals for Joe Linton. Lewis Miley 5 and 5, and progressing very well as a midfielder as well. Overall, a stupendously overachieving season, really. Very, very happy with how things went. Make sure to get yourself available on this on the Patreon. £5 a month helps me out, and obviously you guys are legends. Thank you so much. Subscribe to the channel, watch that one if you haven't already, and I'll speak to you next time.